Hello, I'm Courtney. I'm a dietetic intern working with Samaritan Health Services. And with this video, I'm going to be reviewing what continuous glucose monitors are and requirements for insurance coverage. If you're interested in getting a continuous glucose monitor, please keep watching. So what is a continuous glucose monitor? Also known as a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor tracks interstitial glucose regularly and in real time. They identify trends that you may not notice, like nighttime lows. They can reduce the amount of finger sticks, and they're just overall a great tool for some people with for diabetes self-management. So how do they work? A sensor is placed on the skin and a carbon filament is inserted into the interstitial fluid. The transmitter wirelessly sends information to a monitor or smartphone in real time or with some scanning. The sensors are usually replaced every 10 to 14 days depending on the model. Some benefits of continuous glucose monitors: they can assess effectiveness of your current medication and lifestyle interventions. They can help identify blood glucose trends, again like a nighttime low. They can decrease the amount of hypoglycemic emergencies one has because they can tell you if your blood glucose is dropping and dropping fast so you can treat it before it becomes an emergency. They can also reduce the amount of finger sticks that you need to use. Some limitations of continuous glucose monitors. Some continuous glucose monitors require traditional finger sticks multiple times a day for calibration. No matter what, if you are having a low or a high, you do need to do traditional finger stick to double check that blood glucose before you make any treatment decisions. They can be expensive and are hard to get covered by some insurance. They can fall off, and they cannot be worn during MRIs, CTs, or X-rays. Some more limitations. They do require some basic understanding and being comfortable with technology. So you have to have a smartphone, you need to be able to use applications, you need to be able to access your email, preferably on your smartphone. You need to have all of your passwords for the application, downloading apps, and for your email in order to log into these things. And you need Bluetooth connectivity and to understand how to set that up. So some types of continuous glucose monitors. We have Freestyle Libre by Abbott. We have Freestyle Libre 2 by Abbott. We have Dexcom G6 by Dexcom, Guardian Sensor 3 by Medtronic, and Eversense Implantable CGM by Sensonics. The most common monitors we have for type 2 diabetes are the Freestyle Libre 1 and 2 and the Dexcom G6. So a little bit more about these continuous glucose monitors. For the Freestyle Libre, you have to replace the sensor every 14 days, and it's worn on the back of the arm. This can connect with your smartphone, so you can use a monitor or a smartphone with this. It's approved for ages 18 and up. It is waterproof up to 3 feet and for 30 minutes, so you can shower and you can do some shallow swimming for a short period of time. It must be scanned every 8 hours with either your smartphone or monitor. The Freestyle Libre 2. This sensor is also placed on the back of the arm and is to be replaced every 14 days. This one does have optional alarms, so you can make it where it will warn you if your blood glucose is very high or if it's really low. Again, you do have to check with a traditional finger stick method to make any treatment decisions, but these can warn you. They also can be used with a smartphone or monitor and are approved for ages 4 and older. The Dexcom G6. This sensor is usually placed on the abdomen and is replaced every 10 days. There is an alarm for dangerously low blood sugar. This cannot be turned off. It does also have an option for customized alarms if you want to have an alarm if you're high or if you're low but not dangerously low. This also can connect with a smartphone, and you can share your data with up to 10 people. So if you want your provider to have your data or a family member, maybe if you're a parent and you want to see your child's data, this works for that. They can be paired with several insulin pump systems and are approved for ages 2 and older. These are also water resistant. The Eversense. This one is a sensor that is replaced every 90 days, but is replaced in a provider's office because it is surgically implanted underneath the skin. So every 90 days you have to come get a little incision, have that sensor removed, and a new one replaced. This also possesses smartphone compatibility. This one does have to be calibrated with a finger stick, so you do have to do traditional finger stick twice a day in order to calibrate this sensor. It is typically approved only for type 1 diabetics. And then we have the Guardian Sensor 3. This sensor is replaced every 7 days. It can be paired with several insulin pump systems. It also can connect with a smartphone. And this one also has to be checked twice a day to calibrate the continuous glucose monitor. Again, this one's also typically only approved for people with type 1 diabetes. So some people who might not be a right fit for a continuous glucose monitor, if you take high doses of aspirin, acetaminophen, vitamin C, or hydroxyurea, these can affect the readings on continuous glucose monitors. It doesn't mean you can't get one, you just have to use caution if you are using one. If you have a history of disordered eating, this can be easy to get obsessive about checking. So if you do have a history of being obsessive over your blood sugar readings or what you're eating, this might not be a right fit for you. And if you're not comfortable using technology, it does take a level of technology to be able to use these, which I'll touch more on in a minute. So if you're not comfortable with it, might not be a right fit for you. So a little bit more on that technology. So in order to have all the amazing aspects and use all the features of a continuous glucose monitor, it's important to have access to a smartphone or computer and internet, the ability to download and use applications on a smartphone, the ability to log in and use email on mobile device, your ability to create an account with these continuous glucose monitor apps, and understanding how to use Bluetooth technology, and the ability to be self-sufficient with technology. So if something goes wrong with the app, you might be able to troubleshoot. You might be able to do some small things to troubleshoot. You want to be able to know the things you'd have to do that. All right, and moving on to insurance coverage. So starting with commercial insurance coverage, every insurance company is going to be different here. So you need to call your insurance provider on the back of with the number on the back of your insurance card. You want to ask about continuous glucose monitor coverage. You may be required to provide a current procedural terminology code, also known as a CPT code. And the most common one used is 95249. You may also need to provide a diagnosis code, which you can receive from your primary care provider. For Medicare coverage for continuous glucose monitors, you have to have either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. You must take insulin 3 times a day or use a continuous subcutaneous insulin infusion pump. You must have seen your healthcare provider within 6 months to ensure the above criteria has been met. And then every 6 months you have to see a healthcare provider to assess your adherence to the continuous glucose monitor regimen and diabetes treatment plan. For organ health plan coverage for continuous glucose monitors, it is only approved for type 1 diabetes. You must take insulin 3 times a day or use continuous subcutaneous insulin infusion pump. You must see a healthcare provider within 6 months to ensure that this criteria has been met, and then you have to see a healthcare provider every 6 months to assess adherence to a continuous glucose monitor regimen and diabetes plan. Here are some references if you'd like to learn more. And thank you so much for watching. I hope this was informative in deciding if a continuous glucose monitor is right for you. If you have any further questions, please reach out to your diabetes clinic or ask your primary care provider for more information. Thank you so much. Have a great day.